Hello, Master Gito Yuat. It's Friday, December 2nd. This is Africa 54.
The African Union calls for more funding to end HIV infections in Africa by 2030. Zimbabwe becomes the first African country to approve the use of injectable HIV prevention drug. And in our entertainment report, Heather Maxwell speaks with multi-award-winning Malian guitarist, vocalist, and composer Habib Koité. All this and much more on today's Africa 54.
A study released by the United Nations Program on HIV and AIDS indicates that nearly 70% of the 34 million AIDS patients live in Africa. The African Union is calling for more funding to end HIV infection in Africa by 2030. Africa 54's Ndiho has more.
Grace Jonathan was devastated when she was confirmed HIV positive. Young and pregnant, the 22-year-old became suicidal after her fiancé abandoned her. However, thanks to knowing her status quite early during her pregnancy and heeding her father's advice, Jonathan now has an 8-month-old son who is free of the virus. So her father became her only support system.
When I told my father, he said I should leave everything to God, and he encouraged me to take my drugs without ceasing because they are essential. He said I could only have problems if I stopped taking the drugs. If I follow the rules, I know that I'll be fine. That is why I'm taking the drugs.
Nigeria is one of the countries globally where pediatric HIV infections are increasing, signaling the need for more urgent and expansive intervention. About 2 million Nigerians live with HIV/AIDS, while more than 22,000 mothers' child-to-child transmission cases are reported annually, according to official data from non-governmental organizations like the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation, working hard to reduce these numbers.
77% of these new infections are because of women who did not receive antiretroviral therapy during pregnancy and breastfeeding. So we have a lot of gaps when you look at the area of children, when you look at the area of adolescents. We have a lot of gaps. We are not finding them to place on treatment, and those who are on treatment, there were a lot of issues around the drug regimen.
The 2022 theme for World AIDS Day was putting ourselves to taste, achieving equity to end HIV, highlighting the inequalities and significant gaps in accessing HIV testing or treatment. The Bond says her organization is now seeing more positive results in the numbers of families freely coming to pick up self-testing kits and adhering to a rigorous drug therapy.
Now it has improved a bit with optimized treatment. We are now seeing viral suppression around 70%, 80%, but we have a lot of work to do to get it to the 95% benchmark.
Earlier this year, Nigeria launched a $149 million fund to help fight HIV/AIDS, especially targeting the prevention of mother-to-child transmission. Foreign funding for such programs was under strain due to the focus on COVID-19.
Adolescent girls between the ages of 15 to 24 are representing just about 30%. But women from 24 up to 49 are the remaining, 30%. So in general, this is a really, really high gendered epidemic.
2/3 of funds used for HIV prevention in Africa come from international donors. Much more is needed if Africa wants to get rid of AIDS by 2030. Ndiho, VOA News, Washington.
Zimbabwe recently became the first African country to approve the use of the injectable HIV prevention drug called cabotegravir. Columbus Mavunga has more from Harare.
A 32-year-old Zimbabwean woman who requested not to be identified says she received an injection of the HIV prevention drug called cabotegravir while she was working in the US. She had been taking HIV prevention pills for 7 years. But after she received the shot in April, and now that Zimbabwe has approved it, she's hoping to take the injection every 2 months.
Well, I prefer the injection to the pill because the injection is convenient. You only get a shot after every 2 months. Unlike the pills, you have to take them every day at the same time. And there's a risk of defaulting because there are a lot of things that happens during the day or in life, actually. You might go to a funeral, you forget your pills at home. So with this injection, you only get a shot after every 2 months. And it's only 6 shots per year, which is better preferred to tablets.
Zimbabwe is the first African country to approve the use of the cabotegravir or CABLA. The US approved the drug in December 2021 and Australia in 2022. Zimbabwe introduced a 3% AIDS levy in 1999 to help fund the country's response to HIV and AIDS. Individuals pay 3% income tax and employers and trusts pay 3% on profits for the efforts. The World Health Organization has commended Zimbabwe for approving cabotegravir, saying it would pave the way to providing more safe and effective options for HIV prevention. The Medicines Control of Zimbabwe, or MCAZ, says for now cabotegravir is only allowed for HIV prevention.
There are going to be other preparations containing cabotegravir, which may be submitted at a later time by the applicants or the manufacturers of the product, which will be used for treatment. But the current one, which is approved, is meant only for prevention of HIV and not for treatment.
Dr. Nyaradzo Mugodi of the University of Zimbabwe Clinical Trials Research Center headed trials in 9 African countries. She says the drug is very effective and is calling for Zimbabwe to roll out cabotegravir as soon as possible.
Because us as African women, we continue getting HIV at alarming rates, and one infection is one infection too many. When we've got something that works, we should make it available to the person or the persons who need it.
Supporters say access to drug will also help Zimbabweans stop relying as much on other countries for drugs to treat HIV/AIDS. Columbus Mavunga for VOA News, Harare, Zimbabwe.
The Tony Blair Institute for Global Change has released a report warning that Nigeria's democracy is under threat and that February's general elections could face security risks that should not be overlooked. For more on the report, I'm joined live via Skype from London by Bulama Bukarti, a senior fellow in the Extremism Policy Unit at the Tony Blair Institute. Mr. Bukarti, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you for having me.
This is a worrisome report coming just about 2 months before the general elections in Nigeria. What informs your report about these security threats?
The aim of this report is to ring the alarm bells. It is a call to action. It is intended to highlight the threats that are facing the 2023 Nigerian election and to call on policymakers to take action, to take critical steps right now so that we might achieve successful, secure and peaceful elections come 2023. And as you saw in the report, we highlighted 4 main threats to the elections. Number 1 is the threat of non-state armed groups, and there are 3 non-state armed groups in Nigeria that we believe can threaten the elections. But there are also threats from political thuggery, threat by, post-election violence, as well as the spread of disinformation, misinformation, and fake news or conspiracy theories online.
So given the worrisome picture or the grim picture you just painted, Mr. Bukarti, what should Nigerian authorities and international partners do right now to ensure that the upcoming vote is secure and that it is one of integrity?
Yeah, we recommended 11 different steps, and if I were to go into the details of some of the findings, for example, there are 3 main non-state actors in Nigeria. Boko Haram is a group claiming to be fighting for Islam that had been wreaking havoc in the northeastern part of Nigeria. And this group in particular had attempted twice to disrupt Nigeria's election. And in 2011, they nearly succeeded because they successfully forced the Nigerian government to delay our presidential elections by 6 weeks. And now this group has expanded to other parts of Nigeria, including the north central, the northwest, and some parts of southern Nigeria. And we know from their ideology, one of which is to reject democracy and to try to destroy it, they are going to step up attacks in the weeks leading up to the elections. Now, there is also a separatist group called the Indigenous People of Biafra, in short called IPOB, which has targeted the electoral body's facilities and offices 20 or 21 different times in the last 18 months or so. And they have destroyed critical election infrastructure and material, and they are currently continuing to attack police, security agencies and the electoral body. So our first recommendation is for the Nigerian government and security forces to step up efforts to fight this groups and push them back and liberate rural areas where some of these groups are in control, but also work with the Nigerian media, the civil society, and others to fight disinformation and fake news.
Right, Mr. Bukati, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much. Bulama Bukati is a senior fellow in the Extremism Policy Unit at the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. Now to the World Cup, and joining me live via Skype from Doha, Qatar is VOA sports reporter Sande Shomari. Hello, Sande. Tell us about the 2 African teams that just played.
Yes, Esther, thank you so much. This is another night where we see African teams trying to make their way, Esther. As we know right now, Portugal is still playing with South Korea, and Ghana and Uruguay. Ghana is 2-0 down right now. It's not very good for the Black Stars, and we are hoping maybe they will do something, but the time is not on their side. So, on the other side, Esther, last night, the Lions of Atlas, Morocco, made a big roar and won with big score for Africa. And they made history again, becoming the first team to top the group and go to the round of 16. It was a great night for the people of Morocco and Africa in general. And I met some Moroccan fans here who were very excited, and they had a party all night. And here is what they had to say.
My name is Hannah, and I'm from Morocco, obviously, and I feel very happy and very proud that our team managed to be first on the list of Group F, and I'm so happy and wish them all the best.
My name is Monsef. I am from Marrakesh, and I live here in Qatar like 6 years so far, and I'm really very happy to stay here. I am really very happy in the 3 games that we have, played during this good tournament here in Qatar, and we're looking forward, to go so far in this competition, and why not, to be in the final. And we represent, the Arab world and the Africans, and we would like to say thank you, to all the people that are encouraging, Morocco from all over the world, and we, with this team, we believe in these guys, we believe in our coach, and I'm pretty sure that we will go far in this tournament, inshallah.
Yes, as you heard that, inshallah, they will go far in this tournament, Esther. Morocco is about to make some history here, and we are looking forward to that. But as of now, Ghana, the Black Stars, are not shining, but they need some miracles, Esther. And hopefully miracles will happen tonight for them. Let's wait and see what's going to happen.
Wait for the miracle, Sunday. We are waiting. Thank you so much, Sunday. Sunday Shomari reporting live for us from the World Cup in Doha, Qatar. Now for more action on Ghana's Black Stars, let's go live to Accra, where VOA's Jackson Vunganyi is standing by. Action, Jackson. What's going on in Accra?
Hello, Esther. Things are not looking so good here in Accra. This is a must-win game, a must-win match for the Black Stars. And so far, they are 2 down. The game is almost, over. They needed this win for them to move on to the round of 16. Again, not looking so good. They missed out a crucial penalty in the opening minutes of the match. But, fingers crossed, maybe in the next 10 minutes, they are able to, make some magic happen.
Looks like Sandy said things aren't looking very good. But what are the soccer coaches saying needs to be done to ensure next time round the Black Stars will shine?
Next time round, that is if they're able to make it today. They need this win for there to be a next time round. I think, I spoke to a former goalkeeper of the Black Stars who told me that, Coach Addo changed strategy, the same strategy that actually won them the game against South Korea, and that he should have maintained that. But it looks like he changed a very critical component of the flow of the game, the technique, and that's why they're down. Uruguay also came into this to win it, and, they're not giving up so easily. So right now, as it stands, it's 2-0. Ghana needs this very much. And, we're waiting to see how things turn out.
So what's next now for Black Stars if things don't go, Jackson, the way we expect?
Well, if things don't go the way they want, they'll be on the flight back to Accra, where I am right now. But, here in Accra, I'm actually outside of the GTV. I just want to give a shout out to GTV Sports Plus. They are my host. They hosted me on last game. And they've been really great hosts. But, it's a must-win for the Black Stars. And if they don't win this, they're coming home. Accra, it's a public holiday here. People took a day off to watch the game. I'm watching outside of the GTV Sports Plus area where they have a fun park. And the tension is quite high. You could cut it with a scissor. With a knife, sorry. Again, few more minutes to go in the game. You never know. Soccer is soccer.
Yes, Jackson, we have to say they've done their best. They did some work. They sweat it out. Jackson, thank you so much. VOA's Jackson Bunganya reporting live for us from Accra, Ghana. We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come in our entertainment report, multi-award-winning Malian guitarist, vocalist, and composer Habib Koité. We'll be right back.
HIV has been around for more than 30 years and has since infected more than 86 million people and taken the lives of over 40 million around the world, according to the World Health Organization. On this episode of Our Voices, we examine the communities around the world that remains vulnerable and the support they need in order to lead normal lives and stay healthy and live longer. We'll also talk to expert and everyday people of their opinion if we have won the war against HIV and AIDS. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
In other news, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is rumored to be close to stepping down in the face of heightened calls for his resignation over accusations in connection to a burglary at his farm. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres praised the Ethiopia-Tigray ceasefire during his first visit to the country since the war broke out 2 years ago. Nigeria's northeastern state of Borno has started the evacuation of refugees. More than 11,000 people, mostly displaced by Boko Haram violence over the years, are being returned to their towns. The US and Europe are primary destinations for international students from Africa. But now that China is offering incentives such as free or partial scholarships, are Western universities facing stiffer competition? VOA's Anthony Labruto reports.
According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a Washington, D.C. based think tank, China in 2018 offered a total of 80,000 scholarships to students worldwide to study there, with 12,000 of those specifically being designated for African students. That compared to only 200 scholarships for African students out of a total of 5,000 offered by the United States under the Fulbright program. The fact that there are less scholarships from the U.S. is not deterring some students who still want the American educational experience. Ibienka Amokeodo is a Nigerian PhD student at the University of Maryland. She's paying for college through a combination of non-U.S. government-sponsored scholarships.
If you're another citizen, you can't get, financial aid or federal grants or things like that. So you would have to pay your school fees out of pocket. For my fellowship that I'm currently in, it's for U.S. citizens, they're stipended, their tuition is covered. But for non-U.S. citizens, for international students, we don't get that privilege. So I'm basically just in the fellowship. While other students are being, paid.
Among the many costs that Amokeodo incurred for paying in the United States, aside from the tuition, was payment for her visa.
For visa, I had to pay a lot of money for my visa and, try to get a date to attend an interview just to be sure why I needed to be in the U.S. to study. So those are some of the things that I had done prior to coming to the U.S. for my former school. But while I was transferring to UMD, the only thing I needed to do was also to renew my visa, because we are only permitted, our visa is only, it's only for 2 years. So you always have to renew your visa every 2 years.
Even with the high price for her PhD program, Amokeodo says the quality of the program still makes it worth it.
In terms of my, academics and my career in general, I've been able to, meet and interact with, highly, scientists that I have only dreamt of before in my country. And also for me back home, it has also opened the opportunity to be relevant in my society and my communities.
Amokeodo, who is pursuing a PhD in health science, believes an American education will take her far and enable her to address some of the continent's most pressing issues, like the environment.
In 5 years, I would be a doctor by then. So I definitely see myself in one of the international organizations, making policies and creating solutions to some of the environmental problems we have in the world generally, but specifically in Africa, because that's where my focus is.
Although it has been a difficult journey pursuing a PhD in the United States, Amokeodo urges young people to not give up.
I'll tell, the kids back home in Nigeria to focus on their education, make sure they pass all their exams, try to take all the necessary steps to come here, like apply to any scholarship.
For VOA News, I'm Anthony Labruto.
It's time for Entertainment Report, and Heather Maxwell has more on a very talented musician. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Esther. Hello, everyone. Yes, that's right. The multi-award-winning Malian guitarist, vocalist, and composer Habib Koité and his band Bamada recently delivered a stellar performance here in Washington. I spoke with Habib backstage before the concert and also filmed the live show. Here are the highlights. What does Bamada mean?
Bamada is mean in Bambara language, is the mouth of crocodile.
How many of the original members are still with you today?
We was 5, but actually there is 3 ancient members and 3 new.
What repertoire are you performing on this tour?
I made a new album. It's coming out at the end of 2019. We make a short tour in Europe and we come back in Mali, and COVID is coming and everything was cancelled, blocked. Actually, with this tour, and we have some other tour before US, we play some new song. The album name is Kharifa. Yeah, it means things someone give to you and you decided to take care of these things.
What are you singing about in Jigia?
Hope, c'est l'espoir, la chose sur laquelle tu comptes.
So it's hope, and it's also the person on whom you count.
Voilà.
Habib, are you a griot?
Yes, I'm griot. I'm Koité. I'm a noble griot.
So what do you do as a griot? How are you different?
As it was interesting for me to play on guitar when I was very young, play music, flute, because my father was a guitar player. He had a banjo, he had an accordion, and his father, he was a great ngoni player, the small jili ngoni, the small one. His father was virtuoso of ngoni, same. That's my grandfather, and he played ngoni.
How is it like now in Mali? Is it still one of the best places to be for music?
Yes, actually, it's okay.
Yeah.
But some years ago, we had many problems. Some people who come from the north side and the Islamic, and they want to make Sharia, and they say no music. It was real, because any musician cannot play music in those parts. But actually, it's finished.
And for you, Habib, after this tour, you get home to Mali. What is your next project?
The next project, we go tomorrow to England.
Yeah.
We have some, I think, 5, 6, 7 gigs to do there. And at the end, day one, generally, I play each end of the year my hotel. Hotel Maya. It's a good place. Good place, yes.
Habib Koité, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
care.
much. Well, thank you.
And that's it for this week. Esther, back to you.
You know what, Heather? I have seen something about Mali. The instruments are very unique. So many people are talented in music in Mali. How long have you known Habib?
Habib, I have known, you know what, since the 1980s. He was just a teenager playing in a local club right around, I was a Peace Corps volunteer. And he had his band back then. 3 of the original members are still there. He's been doing it a long time.
And so he came here to Washington to perform.
Yes.
How was the turnout?
It was amazing. It was just great. But I want to go to his hotel back in Bamako, where I guess he performs, and it's a nice place. I haven't seen that yet.
What are some of his biggest hits?
He has one called No More Cigarette, No More Cigarette, Habana, which is an anti-smoking song. That was a big hit.
Wow. All right, we got to go. Heather, thank you so much. Be sure to join Heather Maxwell Entertainment Report every Friday right here on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, have a great weekend.